For decades, Femina Miss India has not just crowned the beauty, but it has also introduced the nation to the women who made a difference and who come from various backgrounds. We have a doctor, we have an athlete, and we also have a scholar in economics. We are very pleased to introduce you with the winners of 61st edition of Femina Miss India 2026. We have Femina Miss India World 2026 Sadhvi Sail with us, who represented Goa state. From Maharashtra, we have Femina Miss India 2026 first runner-up Rajnandini Pawar, and from Jammu Kashmir, Dr. Shri Advaita with us, Femina Miss India 2026 second runner-up. Welcome all on Times Network. We are very pleased to have you all. Congratulations. And first of all, I want to hear all about the journey and especially the moment, the very moment, the historic one, which changed your careers, changed your life. Sadhvi, will begin with you. Tell me about that very moment when your name was announced on that stage, when you were crowned. How was the feeling? How things were in your mind, in your heart, and what you could see in front of your eyes?
I think how I thought about it was I did my best in terms of whatever I could, and that day, more than a decision, it was more about being present in the moment, making sure I soak everything in, because that was the final day of our journeys, and I just wanted to be fully present, be really happy that I've come so far, and just feeling grateful and praying to God that everything works in our favor. So yeah, that was what I felt in that very moment.
How was that for you? Who were you could see rooting you in the audience, rooting for you, and how was the feeling overall when your name was announced?
I think throughout the finale, what I did was I kept looking at my parents because I'd spotted them initially. And after every single performance, after every single round, I made sure to make eye contact with them. And my father, as usual, he was my biggest cheerleader. He was jumping up and down like a kid. And that is what happened during the crowning as well. So the minute I got crowned, I locked eyes with my parents, and I just could see the pride they had in their eyes and the joy that was in their hearts. And I felt really content with what God had blessed me with, and I tried to take it as gracefully as possible. That is it.
Rajnandini, how was that feeling when your name was announced on stage? And
I think for me, all of us entered this journey with a lot of aspiration, hopes and dreams. 30 daughters from all across India, but only 3 get to go forward. So somewhere down the line, I was hoping and praying for the best, and I knew within myself that I have left no stone unturned for this journey, and I've put in every single ounce of effort that I probably can. And then in that moment, I had just surrendered to God, to the divine, and I was just hoping that from now on, whatever happens, it's going to be God's plan. So I know that whatever happens, happens for a reason, and I'm sure that all of us have a very bright future ahead of us.
now coming to the journey of you all, I would start with Sadhvi first. Given your background from economics to construction sites, or giving opportunity to many in the field, male-dominated field, and now coming to this field, how are you feeling and how was the journey throughout?
I think my journey was truly shaped through my curiosity. So I honestly wanted to feel very limitless and test my abilities to the best that I can, and you know, just balance my creative aspect with my practicality that I've carried through my education. And I think, you know, in retrospect, if you look at all of these things, although they might look quite scattered, they all just sort of prepared me in terms of, you know, different skills that I could use and put together in this journey. And that made me feel more certain, more, you know, prepared in terms of where I was headed. And I think it all just came together beautifully, and somewhere this was all maybe the divine plan all along for me. And yeah, I just felt very prepared, blessed, grateful as well in that very moment. And I just carried myself in the best of my ability.
Shri Adwaita, coming to you, being a doctor, you were already curing people, you were already working for the masses. Then how was the shift to this field? When was that moment when you realized that this is what I want to do now?
That realization was always there. It was not a sudden epiphany that I had. And medicine was, pageantry was never a departure from medicine. Rather, it is an extension of it. And the rebel in me has always chosen the unconventional path. So whenever people told me that I couldn't do something or warned me about limitations of a certain path or scope, the one thing I wanted to do is prove them wrong. And one thing I've always protected myself from is being defined from others by the narratives of others. So in my head, all I thought was, I like medicine, I like my purpose, but I also love parts of me that would really suit this particular platform. So why not embrace all of it? And this platform gave me that space where all parts of me can coexist. And it came out as this beautiful amalgamation, be it the credibility from medicine, be it the discipline from dancing, be it the visibility from modeling, and along with it, my army background, the values shaped by my parents, all of it came together, and I could portray myself in the most authentic form. Yes.
Rajnandri, how is it for you? Coming from Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, representing your state and now on a national platform, how is the feeling, how is the journey, and what inspired you the most?
In my life, there was not a single moment where I didn't want to do this. I knew from very early on that this is the path that I want to walk towards. I love being in front of the camera, I love expressing myself creatively, and every opportunity that I have to exactly do that, I will make sure that I do that. So I come from Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, a beautiful city in Maharashtra, and overall in my city there are not a lot of opportunities that come especially related to the show business or the entertainment industry, and very rarely you will find somebody stepping into the industry from my city. So coming from surroundings where this is not common at all, or a pathway such as this is not very commonly seen, I think for me, I didn't want my surroundings or my boundaries to limit me. I've always said that I want to be limitless in my pursuit of everything that I do. So nothing around me has ever been a limitation for me. I always make sure and strive for better and bigger things. And for me, I think why I'm able to do that is the biggest support system that I have by my side in form of my family, my parents, my brother, my grandparents. I think it is because of them, their support, that they've pushed me that, tujhe jo karna hai tu kar, hum tere saath hai. And I think that kind of support is something that will continually guide me to actually strive for the best for whatever that I want to do. And that is how I came. I trained for this. I made sure that every platform and every stage that I have an opportunity to be a part of, I actually inculcate every single quality I can. I've been a part of numerous stages before Femina Miss India, and I think a big part of who I am today are the learnings that I've gathered from those opportunities, from those platforms and stages. And every now and then, every step of my journey has been a learning curve for me, and I carry that with me today as I sit here with all of you.
Well, to reach where you all are now, it takes years of discipline, immense efforts, and most importantly, it takes the support from the people in your surroundings, from your family, like you mentioned. I also want to understand from both of you, how was the family's response when you first told them that you want to pursue this, and while there are some misconceptions about the industry, how did you both manage to convince the parents?
I think for me, when I first told them about it, my parents were very clear from the very get-go that they wanted to just give me the best of the education, and post that it is truly up to me as to what I do out of it. And they just wanted me to carve my own paths, and you know, they were supportive, but at the same time, they said that they wanted to take a back seat and let me navigate this by myself and have my own learnings and my own victories on this journey. So that was their response. But once I won, like, I could see the tears of joy in their eyes. I could see that sense of pride, you know. And most Indian households, as you see, like, the parents, they're always, you know, nahi, aur thoda kar sakte. That's the sentiment. But that day, I truly saw that sense of contentment in their eyes. And yeah, that was really one of the most amazing moments of my life.
Well, how was that for you, coming from an army family, changing states here and there, and managing your education? How difficult was it? Was it difficult for you to convince?
To be honest, my parents are the kind of people whose entire universe revolves around me. I am their most beloved daughter, and in fact, I'm more of a parent to them. So they were a little overprotective at first. They were a little apprehensive towards this particular industry, given there's so many stories and myths revolving around it. But as they saw me and as they witnessed my process of training and how passionate I was in, because I believe you have gained that recognition for yourself.
You and enjoy the very moment that you're moment that you're in, and I think that's something that my state definitely brings, that perspective. So yeah.
What do you think about Maharashtra that, according to you, is something that the world should learn about, that you are the most proud of it?
Yes, I take so much pride in representing Maharashtra on this stage. The very day I got crowned as Femina Miss India Maharashtra will always be a special day for me, because I get to represent the land of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. That name itself, this land carries that warrior spirit. It carries that spirit of being fearless in your pursuit, and I think I take that pride to represent that spirit of Maharashtra, where you are unstoppable. If you have that one goal right in front of you, you will make sure that you achieve it and that you stick to that vision and follow it with the fearless of Maharashtra. And I think the only reason that all of us sit here today is that spirit of not giving up and that fearless spirit. And for me, a lot of those teachings come from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and I make sure wherever I can embody that, I will, because to be able to represent a land of legacy of Shivaji Maharaj is something I take great pride in.
Definitely. Coming to you, Shri Adwaita, you have travelled many places in your life, and that was definitely a best part because you could adapt different cultures within you. So what's your favorite, and what region would you love to talk about?
So giving you a background, I was born into Tamil Telugu heritage, but I was completely raised in Jammu, and then after living across a number of places throughout India, now I'm settled in Chennai right now in Tamil Nadu. And I feel like I'm the literal example of our thing, daughter of the soil. And the one thing that traveling throughout has taught me is adaptability is definitely there, but it has taken out the fear from uncertainty, you know, that apprehensiveness towards uncertainty, because we are always taken out of our comfort zones and not scared of the unknown anymore. So that is a very good factor I feel a lot of the army kids imbibe. And apart from that, one common factor I find both in Tamil Nadu as well as Jammu and Kashmir is that the people, they're extremely warm and hospitable. Especially Tamil people are known for the warmth and, you know, how they treat guests. Also the symphony of contrasts you can witness in these states, where you see rooted culture and heritage thriving alongside modern advancements and scientific technology. It's just beautiful in a very, not a surprising way, but I love how there's a blend of both the worlds. So that is what I truly appreciate.
Well, the crown comes with a responsibility, and how do you think that you are going ahead with this responsibility, working for others, creating awareness, especially for the women in India?
Yeah, I think definitely the crown comes with a lot of responsibility and also visibility. So I plan on channeling that to create some kind of an impact, be it a small one or a big one. And, you know, as we were just discussing as well, I want to talk about more, you know, skill-based work for women. For instance, like, not all of us have the privilege of having a great education. And while it's widely believed that this is something that's vital for you to earn a livelihood, you can also depend on skill sets like, you know, candle making, sewing, or you know, even cattle herding. There's a lot of things that women can do which can empower them and their families. And I sort of also did a study on this about the role of self-help groups and microfinancing in terms of empowering women and lifting them up from lifting families out of poverty. So yeah, that's just something that I am truly, you know, vocal about.
Shri Adwaita, how would you use this platform to contribute from your side to empowering women? Or we have seen how you have already worked for the healthcare of women, from sanitary napkins to rest of the battles that women fight for.
Yeah. So my purpose towards women's health, especially reproductive and menstrual health, it started back in 2016 when I'd come up with the idea of eco-friendly sanitary napkins. And I went across Tamil Nadu to multiple universities and schools and basically promoted menstrual hygiene and reproductive health campaigns to the students. it started off as a school project, which later turned into something much bigger in magnitude. And I've always been vocal. This process got to the next level with the help of my medical education, with the help of my MBBS degree. So it is when I worked in my hospital ward, then I could hear stories from women of my age and older or younger. It was very sad to see how women's symptoms are mostly neglected and dismissed, saying, oh, this is normal. It is supposed to happen to women. But that is not the case. That is not the reality. And conditions like PCOS, which is almost present in more than 90% of the women nowadays, but only half of them are aware of this condition and are aware that they might be suffering from this condition. So my plan was very clear. It was to promote health literacy amongst women and equip them with knowledge about what exactly happens in their bodies, what exactly happens to their uterus, to their hormones and whatnot. And then following it up with a free of cost medical health checkup, which includes a screening of the uterus. So my journey started long ago. This platform helped me amplify my voice and reach a larger magnitude of audience, to which I'm extremely grateful.
Well, even at this point, these young kids are watching us and they are getting inspired by your words. So what would your message would be for the future of the new generation? What would you give them the advices?
I think my advice would be to forever be curious, learn as much as you can, be grateful, be grounded. And don't limit yourself to something, to your own thoughts and beliefs about yourself. Life is long, and you're going to discover many different sides of who you are. So just be open to new opportunities, be receptive of what's coming your way, and be compassionate towards people around you. That will just make, just one person equipping themselves with all these skills can truly just change a lot in one society. So I think that's my message.
What, according to you, is the rumor that the new generation thinks that it is easy to reach where you are, the struggle behind it, and what message in that case you would want to give?
Nothing comes easy in life. Nothing comes easy in life. In fact, my final answer for Femina Miss India was that you have to back up your talent with hard work. You have to make sure that you actually put in the work. And more than often, people think that you can just wish and pray for something, but you have to work towards your dreams for your dreams to actually happen and for your dreams to actually work. And quoting my final answer, I'd like to say that talent can take you to a door, but your hard work is something that is going to keep you in the room. So it is very, very essential that you understand what path that you want to take forward, and you, with utmost sincerity, pour your everything that you have into that dream, into that vision you have for yourself, or that goal you carry for yourself. Today we live in a world full of distractions. We may be connected with somebody who is 7 seas across from us, but at the same time we might be disconnected from somebody who might just be 7 feet apart from us. So it is so important to know and understand to live in the moment, to be present, to be grateful, and at the same time to genuinely work towards what you want to, because life does not often give you many chances, but when it does, make sure that you squeeze every single drop out of that opportunity.
Well, even at this young age, all three of you have achieved so much in life, and I want to talk about it from your point of view, that what message would you give to others that they are looking forward to you becoming you? What would you tell them?
I think the one advice that I'd like to give to the future generation is that life can be really tumultuous and confusing, and it is very important to hold on to oneself. I mean, people around you are going to be constantly telling you what you are and what you aren't. So it is very important that you hold on to who you are, to hold on to your truest identity, and ignore the noise around you and listen to what actually is inside your heart.
These are the three beautiful women with three extraordinary journeys who inspired us today, and inspiring to thousands and lakhs of kids who want to be where they are, and this is definitely going to inspire lots and lots of kids out there. And with this, we come to an end on this interview with Times Network. All the very best for your future projects. All the very best to you as well. With that, let's all celebrate the daughters of the soil. Thank you so much for joining us here at Times Network.
Thank you so
Richa
much.
Khanna.
Ma'am.